All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation, hopefully out there pushing this word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to hopefully the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. What I want to get into this morning, dealing with the elect lady, okay, and just going into how the Lord, is going to preserve, all right, women, who have came back and repented, the believers, the sincere, believers, amongst the sisters, because at the end of the day, we was all, given away, taught away, brought up in a culture that was anti-Messiah, that was anti-life, and we thought that was the way, but just as the prophets, old are back, the believers are back, those same women, who was down for the nation, to follow Yahweh when he was here, that refused to kill, those uh, Hebrew boys during the time of Egypt, because you go into that, the Lord said, pretty much you will have favor, on those women, so that everyone's back for their reward, men and women, of the hopeful elect, So I just want to touch on that perspective, all right, as we go into these scriptures, just get that understanding because as of late, the spirit been having me going into feminism and the effects, the aftermath of it. All right. But the beautiful thing about it, is that the Lord, even in the midst of that, that he, as a remnant, that he was pull out of that darkness and bring into this light, you know. And Esau put that darkness as light, and he did that, to our people as a whole. Okay? Now, when you go to Isaiah 5 and 20, it says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Okay? And this is what this man has done on a very massive scale in the earth, and mainly, with our people, man. Okay? He put ways of darkness, to what we thought, thug culture, street culture, the feminist, the independent woman, we thought there was light. It looked like a sweet situation, man. Where you can just indulge in the flesh, okay? Move how you want to move, no standard, you determine what's right and what's not, you know? And we was brought up in there, we was, you know, trained up in that way, all right, of darkness, man. And it was presented to us as light, okay? But the water, to Yahweh, because you go here in the book of Colossians, um, this is the book of Colossians, all right, chapter 1, verse 12, and it says, giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet to be partakers, okay, of the inheritance of the saints in light, okay? So giving thanks to the Father, all right, Yahweh through his son, Yahweh Shah, which have made us meet, okay? And you go to the word meet. Let's see.
Strong's G 2427. Hikanao. Hikanao.
Ekanao. All right. Now in the Greek is ekanao, the word for meat. Okay. As John the Baptist told, those wicked scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees, he said, bring what fruit? Meat for repentance. Okay. It says to make sufficient to render fit, to equip one with the adequate power to perform duties of one. Okay? So for the hopeful elect, The Lord has put the spirit on us, all right, to be obedient, man. He put the spirit on us to understand why, to understand the law, you know, to understand righteousness, man, to understand his son. Okay? It was through the Lord's mercy that he made, particular men and women meet, okay, to be partakers, all right, of this light, man, of the right way. Okay? As it says in I think that's Baruch. Okay, let's get that in the book of Baruch. The second chapter, Baruch chapter 2, verse 30 said, "For I knew that they would not hear me because they is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves." Okay, so the Lord knew, all right, that we will have a stiff neck, towards that right way, that we will rebel, and be brought into captivity. Okay, the consequences of our rebellion, as it was written, in Deuteronomy 28, will be a captivity, man. The curses. Okay, but in the midst of that, we all begin to remember ourselves, man. You know, and that goes for the women as well, remembering who they were. Remembering their purpose, man. As the men, have came into their purpose and the remembrance of who we were and the intent, understanding the intent of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, the women will come in up under that, man. Remembering themselves in captivity. And it says, "And shall know that I'm the Lord their power, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear." Okay? But your heart is a mind, okay? Ears is listening, and you got to have a particular type of ear, a spiritual ear to hear and understand and obey. And that's what the Lord has done to make us to be what? Partakers of this light, you know? Because remember, we was all brought up in that darkness, man. Whatever we was into. Verse read Colossians 1 and 12 again. It said, "Giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness." Okay, and that's under the enchantments of Esau, man. Okay, Esau, he has the ability to enchant the masses, okay, in darkness, man. There's still a lot of people who still believe in this man madness, okay? They still believe in this man's madness, all right, as the right way, as the way to be. You see? The Lord then put the spirit on them to be meat, all right, to be partakers of the light, you know? And it says, "And have translated us into the kingdom of his dear son," because the kingdom starts within. It starts with a mindset. Okay? The kingdom is a mindset before it's a physical place in the earth, you know? And the Lord, has brought us into a mindset of a kingdom. Okay? And within that mindset, men, the men are starting to understand their role. Israelite men, all right, as the woman is beginning to understand her role, okay, and putting off the West, okay, because the West has a slave mind, okay. The West has us in a condition of self hatred, man. Okay, low self image, confusion, all right. But Yahweh Shai has broken those chains, man. All right. Hey, the truth has made us free. Okay, so let's go here. Because Esau, Edom, what did he do? And that's why I says, "Woe to him that put darkness for light and light for darkness, sweet for building and bitter for sweet." Okay, there's a destruction for this man doing that. Okay, we go to Habakkuk 2 and 15. It says, "Woe," okay, which is destruction, "unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness." Okay? Woe to him that give his neighbor drink. All right, and that drink was philosophies, man. Okay, they had us drunken. Okay, we were drunken off hookup culture and feminism and street culture and black culture and Christianity. Okay, we were drunken off these things. We were drunken off our lust, man. Okay, and who gave us that bottle, man? Esau Edom. All right, they said they put us our bottle to him and make us him drunken also. Now thou mayest look on their nakedness, man. And that's another thing. Here it is. Esau creates, these doctrines and philosophies of self-destruction, and then he'll send a goddamn news report out there to report on it, man. Ask Jake these questions and, interview our people in these conditions, just like in those documentaries. Okay, when they went to go interview, those women, the devil knew what he had done. Okay, he's just going to check on the progress, man. Okay, there's him looking upon our nakedness, man. Okay, there's a destruction that's coming to him for that, man. And the Lord opened up repentance for us because now what are we digesting? This is First John 4 and 13. Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. Okay? So now we're drinking of this spiritual water of Yahweh Shai. Okay? No more of the the wine of Babylon. Okay, we're drinking of the water of Yahweh Shai now. Okay, and it's springing up into everlasting life. Because why? The laws are the instructions of how to exist. You see, Esau gave us wine and he created death. He created a mindset of men not wanting to be fathers, degenerates, women not wanting to be mothers, abortions, okay, dysfunctioning families, a violent culture amongst our community. All the wine that we was giving bred death. Okay, now the alphabet community is in the mix. Okay, all these things are related to death. Okay, from the wine of Babylon, but in Yahweh now we're coming back to life. Now we're understanding how to exist. Now we understand because see the laws give us an order. Okay, the law is what's going to govern. All right, eternity, man. That's why all the law is predicated on what? Law on life. Okay? But you see? So I want to get some accounts, all right, because one thing about it in this captivity, men have become degenerate, but there's more men that are still in the traditional role, as a worker, and a provider. Now the pay scale, is unjust, and it's like that on purpose, man. Because who's going to respect the poor man? Okay, but men will still expected, all right, to be in a traditional role. Okay, and you have men that have, been removed from being men. Okay, but then when you go to the woman, the woman was far removed from her purpose, far removed. Okay, and that's why you sisters that are waking up in the truth, your main focus is to tap into being a woman. There's a science, to being a woman. Like there's levels, you know. Because a woman say, "Well, I cook and not clean." Well, what do you cook? You know, what skills do you have? What can you do? Can you decorate? Can you make a house into a home? Like there's a skill set, okay, that goes into being a woman, which Women was taught to shun it, and men, we was just taught to look at the body, and the outside. Okay, but now as we're coming back to this light, okay, one thing we have to understand is women, you gotta really tap into being a woman. Like that's a science, and it's much needed, you know. And as men, one thing that also, we're beginning to we really understand a woman that's in order. As we mature in the faith, we understand, the woman we appreciate a woman that's in the spirit of a servant, you know. And this in this captivity is teaching us how to rule over the woman in balance, you know. So the thing that's needed, from women, is to just be women, is to really tap in to being a woman. Okay? Like, really tap into being like a nutritionist, man. Understanding the herbs, understanding the body. Just like Elder Apostle Gabar has been going into intermittent fasting. He's been going into dealing with insulin. He's been going into, dealing with ketones and the fasting hacks, what they call it, the benefits of these things. Well, as a woman, you should know all these things, because the man is your shield, you know, and you should understand how that man functions, how that man body works, man. You know, what's needed, because you want your husband to be operating, at the highest level, man. Okay, physically, you see, which enhances his spiritual output. When the man has good health, clarity, you know, some type of peace, then it enhances his spiritual output. It's gonna be affliction that come with it. You still gonna have a little, resistance here and there. Okay, but the overall mindset should be of that, as an Israelite woman that's a believer, is to tap into the science of being a woman, man. There's an art to it, There's levels, because the same way that, you know, women were separated from their purpose. Now it's time to really climb back into it, man. You know. So I want to give a few examples. This is the book of Tobit. It's the book of Tobit, chapter 6, verse verse 10. It says, the angel said to the young man, brother, today we shall lodge with Raguel, who is thy cousin. He also have one only daughter named Sarah. I will speak for her that she may be given thee for a wife, for to thee doth the right of her appertain, seeing thou only art her kindred. And the maid is fair and wise. The maid is fair and wise. Okay? She was beautiful. She was wise. Okay? Remember, she had put up a prayer. I believe it's in the third chapter, and she prayed in humility, man. You see, meekness, humility, it shows a woman that is wise. Okay? That rah-rah energy that Esau, taught us was cute. Okay, nah, man. And it said she was wise. What do you think she was wise in, man? Being a woman. Okay? Now, by default, you sisters that watch, you're gonna, pick up on some mysteries, some deep, mysteries of the scriptures. You're gonna learn particular things as you watch, and grow, because hey, you watch for prophecy, you know. So you see, the prophetic aspect of what's going on, which is, vital, you know. then you're gonna see some breakdowns. But see, your number one priority as a woman should be tapping into being a woman, to becoming wise in how to be a woman, how to be a wife, okay? To constantly add to your skill set, you know, as a woman or a wife or potential wife, if you don't have a husband yet, you know. Well, that should be the main focus. But by default, of course, you know, you sisters um, around, you know, listening every day, you know, you're gonna come up on a particular level, you know, as far as, you know, understanding, you know, some mysteries and prophecies and scriptures, okay? Which that's a beautiful thing, all right? But the main thing as a woman is to, for a woman in the truth, man, is to tap back into being a woman, making yourself compatible, all right, cooperative, you know, praying for those things. Now let's go here. I want to get this. This is First Samuel. Um, is it? All right. Now this is dealing with Abigail. Now it says in this First Samuel 25:2, it says, and there was a man in Maon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding. It referred to as what? As a woman of good understanding, okay, and of a beautiful countenance, because she was beautiful. But the man was churlish and evil in his doing, and he was of the house of Caleb. So it referred to Abigail, all right, as being what? Of good understanding, okay? And what made her of good understanding? She had a mindset, all right, towards spiritual things, but she knew, okay, how to run a house, okay? She knew how to manage the affairs of a house, because she even, what she did, you know, spared, you know, people from dying, okay? She had a mindset towards others. That's why even when you go into, when it was time for Isaac to receive a wife, and he went to Sarah, all right, he went to Abraham's people, and he seen Sarah, not Sarah, Rebecca, you know, when she came to the water, she fed Abraham's servant, um, camel. You know, she dipped the water herself and fed the camel, you know, and there was the woman whom Abraham told his servant to choose based off that act. Okay, she was meek. She had humility. She was in the spirit of a servant. Okay, and Abraham said, "That's the type of woman to get for my son." Okay, so when you go here, First Samuel 25, I'm gonna jump down. So this is when, you know, the servant tells Abigail, you know, that look, that message that the boss sent back to David. David girding up. David and his men girding up coming this way. Okay? So she had an understanding. Remember, she was a good understanding. It said Abigail intercedes. It said, then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisin and 200 cakes of fig and laid them on asses. Okay, now we have to understand, okay, what's going on here. All right, and you read in NLT, it said Abigail wasted no time. She quickly gathered 200 loaves of bread, 2 wineskins full of wine. See, it wasn't, you know, just 2 bottles, you know, say 2 bottles. You know, it wasn't 2 bottles of, you know, of Moscato, okay? It was talking about 2 wineskins, which those wineskins will be able to hold gallons of wine. Okay, so there's a lot of wine. Okay, um, let me see if I can pull it up. So a wine skin will be able to hold 30 to 40 liters of wine. So she had two of them. So she had about 60 to 40 liters of wine. Okay. She hey, she had David and them popping bottles, man. You know, there was a lot of wine. There was, this day time, I think a liter was a bottle of wine is like a liter and a half, a liter. You know, so when it says two bottles, she brought two wine skins. Which was about 60 to 80 liters. Okay, and then they was well off, so it was some fine wine. All right, but I'm gonna keep going and expound on the point. It says that Abigail hasted no time. She quickly gathered 200 loaves of bread, 200 wineskins, 5 sheep that had been slaughtered, nearly a bushel of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisin, and 200 feed cakes. She packed them on donkeys. Now you have to understand, Abigail, she didn't just have these things in storage, okay, to where she just went to a refrigerator and grabbed these things, and went to a cabinet and grabbed these things. Nah, she was a lady of the house, so she had um, s- um, 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 female servants and men servants under her as well, to where there was a part of her father's house, but she was able to get them. She was able to coordinate all this, to get them to slaughter the sheep, get the sheep ready to cook that, get the feed cakes ready. Let's get that going. She was making plays. She was managing these things. Okay, because the figs had to be picked. These things was fresh. Make the cakes. The bread. Let's get the bread ready. Let's roast this grain. Okay, get the wine. Look, these men. She understood. You know, King David and his men. She had an understanding of men. That's why she got the things that she got. They good lamb. Okay, their wine. Like get these men some wine. These are men of war. Out here in the wilderness, get them some wine. Get them the lamb for their protein. The figs and all these things for the nutrients, the wine, the antioxidants, and the mirth. Like she understood. She had she was of good understanding as a wife. Okay. And the spirit was on her to see that King David, okay, was going to be, the next king of Israel. And she didn't want to have any blemish, dealing with this, with her crazy ass husband, man. You know? But she spared, her house. Eventually the Lord took out Nabal, okay? But those servants and, Nabal probably had sons that took over, the estates, okay? And it kept that lineage going, but he got took out of there, man. Okay? So when she said she was a good understanding in what, man, being a woman. Okay, she made a play as a woman. Okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. Um, as because when we go into particular topics, and as of late, the main topic, see, has been that feminism. We do that to explain the darkness, you know, that our women was in, and even some men, like we had certain feminist mindsets, some men have particular feminist mindsets as well, you know. You see the Queen of Heaven, okay, that dear mama, spirit, but curse out the dead. You see, there's all feminist doctrine, man. All right. And since we went into those things, we were just explaining the darkness. Okay. But there's a remnant, men and women, that have been brought, okay, from the darkness to the marvelous light. So let me get this, and I will end it here. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 14. This is Ezekiel 14 and 22. It says, "Yet behold, therein shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings." Now, this is speaking of the 2/3. All right. "And ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I have brought upon it." Okay. So we understand why the Lord finna do what He's finna do to 2/3 of our people, but we also understand that there's a remnant of men and women that He's gonna allow to be delivered. You know, so as we see the actions, the constant digression and backsliding of our people is getting worse and worse. We're gonna be confident in the Lord destroying our people in this condition, man. Okay? And we understand, going back to prophecy and understanding that eventually they come back, all Israel going to be saved. Okay? Through what? The remnant that He pulled out of darkness. You see? So, Lord, will you, brothers, and you few sisters was edified. Once again, we give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example to his younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutation, hopefully, shalom.